In 2009, a 58-year-old man named Richard Heen told reporters, authorities, and pretty much all of America that his 6-year-old son had floated away in a homemade flying saucer built in their backyard. Yep, just picture a giant silver party balloon, the kind you'd see tethered to a birthday mailbox, but oversized, unstable, and packed with enough drama to reroute commercial airspace. It was a saucer-shaped spectacle made of aluminum foil, plastic, and pure audacity, silently drifting across the Colorado sky, allegedly carrying a child. Within minutes, chaos broke loose. Local news went into overdrive. Helicopters took off. Highways were cleared. Emergency services kicked into full-blown disaster mode. Even NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, a group best known for tracking Santa every Christmas Eve, picked up the balloon on radar.
Why?
Because a potentially child-loaded UFO was floating over the Midwest with no steering wheel, no safety gear, and all the stability of a grocery store balloon in a hurricane. Live footage showed the balloon twisting and wobbling in the wind like a slow-motion sci-fi horror film. Reporters gave play-by-play updates as the silver saucer dipped, rose, and soared over rooftops and farmland. One minute it was a rescue operation, the next it was national theater. And then came the moment. After a dramatic 2-hour flight, the balloon came down in a random open field, bouncing a few times before collapsing into a crinkled pile of foil and string. Emergency responders swarmed in, cut it open, and found nothing. No boy. No backpack. Not even a juice box. Just empty foil and several thousand Americans wondering if they'd just watched the biggest prank since Orson Welles invaded the radio in 1938. Cue the collective national reaction. Wait, what? The Heen family's home quickly became ground zero for speculation. Was it a hoax? A tragic misunderstanding? Some alien returns policy in action? Then, just as the nation was catching its breath, the truth landed harder than the balloon. The missing boy, Falcon Heen, yes, really his name, had been hiding in the attic the entire time. Not injured, not abducted, just chilling in the rafters, utterly unaware he'd just launched a multi-agency emergency response and become the subject of international headlines. Everyone exhaled for about 10 minutes. Because during a now infamous interview on national television, when a reporter asked Falcon why he hadn't come out during the search, the boy looked confused and said the quiet part out loud. "You guys said we did this for the show." Boom. Mic drop. America froze. And just like that, the Real plot kicked in. Investigators pieced it together. This wasn't just a fluke. Richard Heen had apparently been shopping around reality TV concept and thought fabricating a once-in-a-lifetime airborne child emergency might get network execs knocking. It was the kind of logic that made Florida man look like a Nobel finalist. The authorities were not amused. Multiple agencies got involved: the FAA, the Sheriff's Department, the National Guard. The event cost an estimated $50,000 in emergency response and gridlocked an entire region's resources. And it had all been orchestrated by a man with a homemade UFO, a camera crew, and a dream. Eventually, Richard and his wife pled guilty to charges of false reporting and were sentenced to community service, probation, and ordered to pay thousands in restitution. In 2020, over a decade later, they received a governor's pardon, but by then, the Balloon Boy saga had firmly etched itself into pop culture's hall of ridiculous fame. Yet for all the drama, the conspiracy theories, and the viral news cycles, here's what makes this story so rare. No one got hurt. The boy was safe. The balloon missed every tree, house, and power line. And the most lasting scars were to Richard Heen's credibility, and maybe the poor county clerk who had to process that helium reimbursement claim. So yes, in 2009, America rerouted planes, mobilized emergency crews, and interrupted live programming for a backyard-built balloon that was never meant to carry anything but dreams of stardom. And the wildest part? It kind of worked. For a few surreal hours, Richard Heen had the whole world watching. So next time you think your creative pitch might be a little too bold, remember, one man tried to land a reality show by claiming his kid floated off into the sky in a homemade spaceship, and for a moment, the world bought it. We really did believe the boy took off in a balloon. And somewhere in a garage in Colorado, a roll of aluminum foil still hangs on the wall, like a shrine to the most airborne hoax in American history. Subscribe for more.